Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion, the premium public video forecast discussion for Friday, October 10th, 2025. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen D. Martino, CDM number 9. We have a lot to talk about in a very complicated storm setup. First, I just want to bring up the latest information from Johns Hopkins. They want to let you know that we have to keep an eye out for human West Nile virus and Eastern Ukrainian. I don't even know how to pronounce that, but basically it's all of the mosquitoes that are getting ready to die, especially with the cold weather we just had this morning. But if you're messing around with some standing water and whatnot, they are noticing an uptick in cases. So just be aware of that and protect yourself. Cover yourself up so that way you don't get bit by one of those little buggers. Now, let's talk about the weather. We have, first of all, if I can pull it up correctly, here we are. The latest in the tropics, I just want to cover this real fast. We have Jerry here. Jerry is a very sheared tropical storm, not likely to reach hurricane strength now, and will actually pass to the east of Bermuda as it's rapidly lifting north and being caught up in this deep trough. That same deep trough has produced subtropical storm Karen. I know, no comments are needed. Subtropical storm Karen will not last for much longer. In fact, by tomorrow morning, it will be an extratropical storm. More of a pest than anything else and out of the way. True to the Karen name. So, that's where we are with the tropics. Not much else is going on. It's actually pretty quiet. And in fact, the evolution of the MJO, which we have here in the forecast here, suggests that we're going to be moving into phase 3 and 4. That's important because phase 3 and 4 is more of a La Nina type feel to it. And La Nina type evolution, when it comes to tropical Atlantic, means it's going to get quiet. So we actually might be going into a quiet period to end the hurricane season. We'll keep an eye on it, of course, but certainly some good news there. Hey, I am very happy with no impacts on the Gulf Coast, Florida coast, or the East Coast for the rest of the season. That sounds great to me. But trouble is brewing, and we've been following it for quite some time. I'm jumping right to the water vapor satellite picture. We'll take a look at the observations in a moment for everything else. But you can see everything starting to take place here. Now, what did I warn on Wednesday? Watch out for the evolution for this feature right here. We know it's strong. We know it has a lot of power, a lot of energy associated with it. But if it tracks a little bit further to the east, it's going to have a different influence on this storm. And we're starting to see the guidance starting to pick up on that now. GFS is still lagging behind a bit, but the Canadian and the European guidance, synoptic models, and the NAM model guidance, if we want to throw that in, that's more of a mesoscale model, all picking up kind of like the same type of vibe here that, this is going to try and get a little bit further east before getting pulled back west. So it adjusts the weather pattern and the evolution of this forecast a little bit. However, if you have plans for this weekend, I strongly suggest getting them done tomorrow because Sunday is just going to go downhill. And Monday, well, it's going to be one of those, just another manic Monday and wet and windy and stormy and ugly. But in the meantime, we have this shortwave right here. It's diving down just right. And it's heading right towards this area here. The original forecast had it here on Saturday, but you can clearly see the way that it's moving. It's going to be somewhere in this ball, or in this area right here, right? So why is that important? Well, that allows this feature here to trek a little bit further east and then get pulled back west. So what that means is that it delays the evolution of this whole storm. It also means that this whole setup is feeling the influence of our trough coming in from the west, kicking everything east. So again, these are all factors that I've been warning about, like, hey, we have to watch to see whether or not we see any adjustments, and then we'll issue a public map. And we'll go over the map I've been sharing with premium members just so they get prepared. That way you are all set up. So again, this is why it's important to be a premium member, that you understand what the evolution of the storm is and you can prepare accordingly, and you have the impact maps that you can zoom right into your home to prepare as a result. But we'll dive into that more. So what is going on right now? Well, right now we have high pressure in control. We have winds from the northeast around 5 miles per hour, not very strong, very chilly out there. Temperatures in the upper 30s to mid 40s over the northern interior, and also in your suburbs. In your urban areas, you're in the upper 40s to lower 50s, a few mid 50s here on Long Island. A nice, cool fall day. And with high pressure and control, you can see not much in the way of precipitation, but trouble is brewing to the west and to the south of us. Take a look at that rainfall down there starting to bubble up and get itself organized. So on our visible satellite picture, not bad at all. We have some clouds coming in from the Atlantic with that northeasterly flow, but no precipitation, just some scattered clouds. And as we move on through the day, a lot of these lower clouds are going to break up. So you end up with plenty of sunshine by this afternoon. But as we step back and take a look at our infrared satellite picture, you can see this setup all taking shape here, right? So there you have your portion of the subtropical storm here. When I say subtropical jet stream, pardon me, this is part of the subtropical jet stream, this storm, this feature interacting, and then here we have our polar feature. And again, you can see it very nicely here on the water vapor satellite picture. Everything here is cold core right now, okay? Everything is a cold core structure right now, extratropical. So we're not seeing any tropical development yet. So let's dive into some of the guidance here. Now, as I was saying, here comes our disturbance diving in, right? Notice, because it's a little bit further north and east, it takes longer to interact with this feature. So by the time we get to Saturday and Sunday, Saturday night into Sunday morning, they're two separate features still. And that's important because now you don't have one storm, you have two separated. And you have the separation of lifting in between these two. And then you get the merger taking shape on Sunday into Monday morning. And so what that does is that it delays the whole process. The process is still happening, but it delays it and shifts it ever so slightly east. So what that means is that your worst conditions are delayed about 24 hours because this whole evolution is delayed by 12 to 24 hours. And the way that shows up in your winds is, well, take a look at the 850 millibar winds we've been watching. Still the same setup, right? It's just that the whole process is delayed a little bit because that upper level low is shifted a little bit further north and east. So you see why I was harping how that was really important on Wednesday, to keep an eye on that. I mentioned that several times on Wednesday night about that concern. I've been telling premium members since Tuesday about that concern. And so what that means is that you delayed the evolution of your storm, but you still have pretty significant impacts. You're talking about 60 to 80 knot winds coming into the coastal plain at 850 millibars, which when get mixed down can produce wind gusts over 50 miles per hour. So all that still remains in place. All those factors are still a concern here. You can see your upper level low here evolving here. All that is pretty much locked in. The ensembles agree on that. Now we're getting better agreement on the timing and the structure and the evolution. But what about whether or not this takes on any warm core structure? Well, when I take a look at the precipitable water values, I do see some very, very minute signs or maybe a low-level warm core structure taking shape here. Let me see the 850 millibar temperatures. You see that little blip right there, right off the coast here. So I would not be surprised from the surface up to about 925 millibars, very low level, that you get this little warm core structure. I don't think it'll get named or anything, but the reason why that's important is that it tightens that gradient, allows that surface low pressure system to intensify just a little bit longer. And so what do we see when we have that type of setup? Well, you can see the 850 millibar, should I say the surface low pressure system, intensify up to a point. And then why does it start to weaken after that? Hey, look at this. It starts to collapse very quickly, right? On Monday into Tuesday. What's going on here? The storm becomes vertically stacked. And so when the storm becomes vertically stacked, it starts to weaken. So this tells me everything I need to know about the timing of this whole event, right? So it gets nasty on Sunday. I wouldn't suggest having any outdoor activities Saturday night into Sunday because you'll get these waves of rainfall coming in with breaks in between. And the synoptic models are having a hard time handling that break. But you're not seeing the widespread rainfall you saw earlier because the two setups are separated right now. Then they merge And here they come in on Monday with waves of rainfall, and then it becomes scattered on Tuesday as the storm weakens and falls apart. So the way I see this whole setup here, and I'll issue a public map once we get a little bit. I want to see the 12Z data to fine tune everything, but the general idea remains the same. Looking at very heavy rainfall along the coast, someone's going to get over 2 inches of rain here. I'm putting the max here at 5 inches. If we get one of those bands really to set up right on the immediate coast. But most locations around here will be around 2 inches of rain from, again, this is from Saturday night all the way on into Tuesday morning. So it's not like a one-shot 24-hour event. It's a long-duration event. Flooding, coastal flooding is still a major concern here because you have a persistent easterly wind, and the winds are still going to be strong because the pressure gradient will just get stronger with each passing hour. So you're talking about winds of 10 to 20 miles per hour sustained, 15 to 30 miles per hour along the immediate coast, especially on the beach, because you're not having any shear friction from the ocean, so it's a little bit faster. And the gusts will still be capable of going over 40 and 50 miles per hour. So I still see the threat here for power outages, coastal flooding, some wind damage, Sunday through Monday. That still remains the case. The question here is when are the conditions going to be the worst, right? Where you're going to get the widespread heavy rainfall, winds, coastal flooding, everything happening at once. We're going to push that off to Monday from 12 to 10, right? But still, Sunday is not a good day to go out, but you're more likely to see more breaks in the precipitation on Sunday because of the timing of the evolution. And then as you go further west, the impacts will be less and less. So over the I-95 corridor here, looking at 1 to 2 inches for the most part, maybe up to 3 inches in a few isolated locations. And then the far northern interior by half an inch or inch and a half of rain setting up in this event. Again, this is over several days, Sunday, Monday, exiting on Tuesday. Okay, so it starts to enter on Saturday with increasing cloud cover and a few showers, and then it really reaches its apex on Monday, but it just steadily gets worse Saturday night through Sunday. So let's dive into this forecast because we've already talked quite a bit about it. So let's go. For today, high pressure and control, light and variable winds, veering and developing out of the southeast as we move on through the day. Look for temperatures to range from the mid to upper 50s over the interior, lower to mid 60s along the coast. And for tonight into tomorrow, high pressure starts to give way with increasing cloud cover, and a few isolated showers start to pop up in the morning. Look for low temperatures to range from the lower to mid 40s over the northern interior, upper 40s to lower 50s in the suburbs, mid 50s in urban areas. For tomorrow afternoon, variable cloud cover, widely scattered showers, nothing heavy though. Look for high temperatures to range from the lower to mid 60s over the northern interior, upper 60s to lower 70s along the I-95 corridor, and mid to upper 60s along the coast. For Sunday, this is where things get a little tricky here. Definitely windy conditions, cloudy, waves of showers, and some of these showers will be capable of heavier downpours. So just be aware of that. It's not going to be all day rain, but it's going to be cloudy with waves of showers coming in, and those showers will be capable of very heavy downpours, regardless, windy and coastal flooding. So you still have those issues continuously. Look for low temperatures on Sunday to range from the mid to upper 50s over the northern interior, upper 50s to lower 60s along the coast. High temperatures will range from the lower to mid 60s over the interior and along the coast, upper 60s to lower 70s on the I-95 corridor. On Monday, this is where our low pressure system backs in as our whole storm consolidates. We'll have waves of rainfall, again, heavy at times, maybe a few breaks from here and there, but still windy conditions, coastal flooding, just a nasty weather pattern setting up for Sunday and Monday with just waves of rainfall, heavy at times. Look for temperatures on Monday to range from the upper 40s to lower 50s over the northern interior, mid 50s along the coast. High temperatures ranging from the upper 50s to lower 60s. On Tuesday, the storm slowly leaves with clearing skies from northwest to southeast and scattered showers around the region. Winds will start to subside and back to the northwest. Look for low temperatures in the upper 40s to lower 50s over the northern interior, mid to upper 50s along the coast. High temperatures will range from the upper 50s to lower 60s throughout the region. On Wednesday, a cold front will approach the region in the evening. Still expecting scattered cloud cover, a dry day, but that cold front's going to be key because it's going to usher in a nice polar air mass. But before that, look for low temperatures ranging from the lower to mid 40s over the northern interior, mid to upper 40s in your suburbs, lower to mid 50s in your urban areas. High temperatures will range from the mid to upper 60s over the interior and along the coast, upper 60s to lower 70s on the I-95 corridor. On Thursday, high pressure builds in with clear skies, much cooler temperatures. Look for low temperatures ranging from the upper 30s to lower 40s over the northern interior, lower to mid 40s in your suburbs, mid to upper 40s in your urban areas. High temperatures will range from the upper 40s to lower 50s over the northern interior, mid to upper 50s along the coast. And on Friday, high pressure will pass right over the region with clear skies, light winds, and that means temperatures will plummet in the morning. And look for lower to mid 30s over the northern interior, upper 30s to lower 40s in your suburbs, lower to mid 40s in your urban areas, and high temperatures ranging from the mid to upper 50s over the northern interior and upper 50s to lower 60s along the coast. That is your forecast discussion for today. I hope it provided a lot of details for you so that you could prepare properly. Again, just to step through, Saturday, increasing clouds, a few showers. Sunday, conditions get worse, with cloud cover, periods of rain, heavy at times, windy conditions, and also coastal flooding. Monday, the better potential for more widespread rainfall, steady rainfall, and just rough conditions for the morning and evening rush hour with steady winds and still the continuation of coastal flooding being a threat. That is your forecast discussion for today. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. And as always, stay safe out there.